I
Okay.
love Bigfoot Judy. This is a person that I met on the road with my kids on an RV trip, and just a wonderful human being. The stories and the things he talked about were fantastic. And Debbie asked, his feet are a size 15, so he does have big feet, and his name is Judy.
I'm gonna say I think this was one of my all-time favorites. Just straight up, I was not expecting any of that conversation, and so there's some heavy stuff in there, some very heavy stuff, but also enlightening and joyful. And you guys gotta listen to this one for sure.
Yeah. And thanks for reminding me. We do need to give you a little trigger warning. There is some discussion of suicide. It has a very happy ending in this case, but take care of yourself. This is someone who knows who he is and how he's showing up, and it's beautiful.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We are grateful that you're joining us, and I'm excited today because we are talking to someone that I met out on an RV trip out on the road in Northern California, Southern Oregon, and that is Bigfoot Judy. Bigfoot Judy is Michigan-born, a former cop, which I did not know that, and turned into an intentional community building nomad, which is the introduction that he shared with us. I just want to say, when we first met him, we had pulled into a little rest stop with our RV. We have a little 30-foot C-Class, and I had my kids with me, and we saw his van, and we saw somebody laying on the ground, on the cement, on the asphalt at this rest stop, and got a little worried. But then we could see there was a yoga mat, and he was just doing his morning yoga. He'd spent the night there. That was how we met him, and he's got such an interesting story to share. So welcome, Judy. We're so happy to have you here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it was such a pleasant experience meeting you there and your family. And it's something that is really special to me on the road is that I end up having so many genuine connections with, like, I usually say random, but I don't really feel like it's random anymore because it happens so frequently. But like so many times I'm like feeling a little alone and I go to a spot and then the next thing I know, I'm making new friends in the morning, and it just reminds me of why I do what I do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. So this is going to be fun. I think everybody's up for some laughs with this one today. But yeah, Marci came home from her trip and she told me about Bigfoot Judy. And she's like, okay, we're gonna have him on the show. So here we are.
And it was funny because I was like, oh, I wonder how he gets his internet. And my daughter-in-law was like, no, he's all set up. He has great internet. So I missed that part of the conversation. So I was like, great.
It actually worked out so good because I came here and I'm at a bus festival here in Oak Ridge, Oregon. It's a small little, probably 60 vehicle, 70 person thing. And I actually, like, my service was okay. But then last night, as I was like, oh yeah, I got this podcast tomorrow, a new friend rolled up and was like, hey, here's my Starlink, here's the password for anything you guys need. So I was like, oh, well, that's settled.
That's the way the world is supposed to work, right?
That's community. Yes.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I want to hear the backstory on all this. So my husband is a Michigander. So this is he'll find this fascinating. But so Michigan cop and now nomad building communities. So give us a little backstory on what happened.
Yeah, I know we don't have the entirety of the day, so I
can't.
We'll see how much I can get into
the
it.
Snapshot.
But
yeah.
So I grew up in Grand Rapids, well, at a little farm town called Lowell, just outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's about like 30-40 minutes away from the West Coast where like Michigan is. Midwest vibes, Midwest nice. The Mitten State. Oh, I got you. Yeah, we're gonna be right over here.
Oh,
So
oh,
like
here,
3 hours from Detroit. Yeah,
this is how the
the other side.
Michiganders do it. Yeah.
Right,
Oh, okay,
exactly. So
okay.
the lower peninsula. So I grew up out there. My dad was a police officer in a small town, and I grew up wanting to kind of follow in his footsteps. And my mom was always in like the education field, and so I had two parents that really did love service, and
Mhm.
like that got passed on to me, and was something I really wanted to do. But I also grew up in a 99% white small farm town, so I was also like kind of told it was very black and white of the cops are the good guys and the criminals are the bad guys, and then
Mhm.
there's the good people, the bad people, and the cops, and that's
Yeah.
basically it, which turns out in real experience is not the case.
Yeah. I grew up in
So
that small town, Minnesota, by the way. Population 710, I think was my hometown.
oh, that's
So,
even smaller.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
know
you can
all about
relate.
that. Yes.
Yeah, so I like was one of those kids that was like, I always know what I want to be. I want to be a cop, but like I was also like wanted to be a little bit of a troublemaker, and nothing too crazy, but had my
Yeah.
fun as a kid, and ended up starting my career in Benton Harbor, which is like the halfway point between Grand Rapids and Chicago, and
Mm.
that was in I think 2017. And the year I started, it's an interesting town. It's like a town. We were a township just outside of the inner city, but it's right next to Lake Michigan, and the town of about 15,000, but it was the most. It was rated the most violent town per capita in Michigan, like over Detroit and Jackson and Flint.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, the year I started. So it was like
Yeah.
it's small town vibes, but you're also going to multiple homicides a weekend, and they're like
Mm.
broad daylight
Ooh.
shootings at a party full of 200 people. And
Ooh.
I started out at I believe $20.40 an hour, and we had two cops was our minimum shift requirement to cover 27 square miles, which is pretty crazy. And I learned very quickly that the system was not designed to be fair to everybody, and I was, to be totally frank, I was kind of like grown up just with an atmosphere of like, oh, the crime and the poverty with like any minority population it's not the police, it's not America, it's a cultural problem.
Right.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah.
then which makes sense when you don't want to, it's a big weight to carry the fact that you're using a system that alienates and discriminates against minorities once
Yes.
you get involved.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I learned very quickly, like, wow, like in Benton Harbor, it was like, okay, the policy says if you have a suspended license, you shouldn't be driving, so you should tow the car and process them at the station and release them. That all makes sense on paper if you've never, been in that system and you had parents who took you to driver's ed and
Right.
like all of those
Right.
things. But what people don't realize is when marijuana was illegal in Michigan, you could be walking down the street and get busted for the use of marijuana, and you get your driver's license suspended because it's a drug crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have all of these, like, primarily, like, you have a ton of black men in this community who need to drive to work and just live about their lives because we don't have public transportation, and they're
Right.
just trying to exist. You have these cops that don't understand this whole, like, all the backstory, that are just making it impossible for them to ever get a legit license or get
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then pushing against that, I started asking questions, and it was not
Uh-oh.
super well received.
Yes.
And then I realized, like, okay, I can't ask questions or I'll get in trouble, but I can just like look the other way. But you realize very quickly that like all of these, every time you look away, you're violating policy within your own
Yeah.
department and risking your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I left. I did about a year there, and it was just like, and there's also there's no resources for mental health. Like, we had a fire in a hotel where we lost a bunch, like an entire family with like
Mm.
dead kids, and it was just like, we won't get into it, but it was just a brutal scene. And we had one day, the next day, where we all got together and talked to a couple therapists in a group of like the 150 of us, and they're like, yep, if you need us, let us know, but as soon as you
Yeah.
let your boss know,
Yeah. Bye-bye. Good luck.
then
Yeah.
yeah. And well, they'll say like, yeah, you can come talk and you can go get that help and the resource is there. But culturally, the problem is if I say yes to getting help, then they have to take me off the road, which means
Yeah.
now my friends are working overtime and they're pissed at me because
Yeah.
they're working 60 hours a week, which isn't fair to them,
No.
So it's just like the get over it and keep going and get back on the road mentality that was brutal. So I did that for about a year. And then I just got so exhausted, I went across the street to like literally one bridge over to the town of St. Joe, Michigan, which should be like, they should both be beautiful little, resort towns on the
Yeah.
lake, but Benton
Yeah.
Harbor is extremely violent and impoverished. And then you have St. Joe, which is a lot of Chicago vacation homes and lake houses, and we had 5 cops covering a couple square miles at all times. So, and I got an $8 pay raise and day shift just to exist in a safer town. And it became, instead of like going to shootings, you're now like walking the pier and grabbing ice cream. And not to say like, don't get me wrong, like I do want to say like the St. Joe cops are like very well trained and do respond to emergencies and like do assist with Benton Harbor sometimes, but like it's just very, if you want to make money and actually live a life as a police officer, it's not in the town that needs you the most. It's in a place that doesn't. Which was interesting. So I did that for a little bit, and also dealt with, we had a shooting in Benton Harbor where I had a guy shot in the head and another lady shot in the leg, and we had one state trooper there trying to deal with the whole situation at a big party because everyone else was tied up on these robberies. I offer to go as a St. Joe cop, and my sergeant stops me and makes me wait 3 minutes as this person is bleeding out because we don't want a white cop going into the hood and shooting a black guy because politically it'll look bad if we went and helped. And like, right. So it's like, oh, so we have 5 cops sitting here doing nothing, a cop screaming for help 2 miles away, and we're not going over there because we don't want to get involved, even though we have all the resources, but that's not our neighbor because they're in a different town. It was just like really just sad. So I left there to get back to Grand Rapids. I wanted to get closer to home. And I found a job in Berry County, Michigan, which is extremely rural. And it's kind of like between the cities of Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Kalamazoo. So it's 600 square miles of like mostly white farm towns. And that place was pretty, it was kind of like working at a police department 20 years in the past. It was right during BLM and when COVID came about. So it was so we're, after like working with like diverse communities and really like falling in love with like the population of like Benton Harbor and like getting to see all these differences, then coming to Berry County and being like, wow, if anyone involved in any complaint is black, I noticed the entire team would go, even though it's just like a civil complaint where like if it was 2 white people, it'd just be like one guy going. It's like it's just like, wow, there's like no diversity here, and like people are very scared of outsiders here. And it was just culturally rough. And I was there for 9 months and did we had a suicide call, which is something that I always would try and grab onto because I really liked communicating with people who were like feeling shitty and wanted to, it was something I was pretty good at, was like just talking to someone and relating with them as like not a police officer, as just a human being. So I wanted to do that. So I grabbed the call, and we get a lot of calls, probably like 1 or 2 a day, of someone getting in a fight with a partner. And then they say some things they probably shouldn't, and maybe threaten some self-harm and say they might come to the county. And it's usually nothing, but it's usually, hurt feelings, and people calm down and we get a call back and everyone's safe. But this time the guy had said, he had sent a picture to his wife with him with a rope. And he was like, I'm going to go hang myself in the woods. And I was like, all right, that's a little more like probable. I've done hundreds of these. Let's go like put some energy into this quickly. And we were pinging his phone, and it was coming up with 4 square miles in the state forest, which is not something we're going to be able to cover. So I end up just calling him. He doesn't answer. I text him, and I just said something along the lines of like, hey, this is Jared. I do work for the county. I heard you're having a fucked up day, and I just want to make sure that you're okay. Can you like give me a call? Can you like text me? Like whatever, dude. Like just get back to me. And he ends up texting me, and doesn't want to meet up. He's paranoid and thinks he's going to get jumped by like a SWAT team. And I'm like, no, dude, I want to give you a hug, and like we can go from there, and I want to make sure you're okay. So he agreed to meet up at a mutual like public, like a county building or something, but he didn't want the whole team to come. So I was like, all right, I'll show up, and then the ambulance will come up, and then I'll have my guys right across the street if there's anything else, and everyone knows what's going on, and it seems super legit. Communication is open. Great. So I let my boss know that I've located the dude, because we haven't found this guy. No one's located this dude. So I'm like, hey, I found him. He said he's going to meet us here. Let's do this thing. So I go over there, we do it, I give him a hug, he shows me the rope, and then I convince him to go to the hospital voluntarily. For those who don't know, like when something like this happens, when the cops come up with you, you're either going to go voluntarily and get checked out for a couple hours, which is the way to
Yeah.
go, or you say no, and then you get what I call as voluntold, and they
Yeah.
petition you in, and then you're stuck for a couple days. So most
Yeah.
Right.
people are like, I'd rather just go and get it over with,
Yeah.
and they do.
Yeah.
So he got a ride, thought everything was good, and then I
Yeah.
got a text from my boss in a group chat with everyone we worked with saying that I had put all of our team members' safety in jeopardy, and what I had done was reckless and will never happen again on his watch, and yada yada yada.
Uh,
And to also like meet him at the sheriff's department or whatever to talk to him. So I was like, okay, interesting way to address that, but whatever. So
right.
on my way to go talk to him, I received a text message from the guy who from our victim, which I would like to call him not a suspect, who had just gotten released from the hospital. And he texted me and said, because he had played it off when I had met up with him, like most people do, because they don't want.
Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Cour Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now, and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Cour Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's
Lifetime.
right.
Buy it once and we'll keep
Lifetime.
updating it too.
Yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Cour Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it.
It's not because they want to lie, it's because they don't want to cause a scene. And they're just like, yeah, I wasn't going to do anything, yada, yada. I made it all up. I'm really sorry. And so he had texted me and said, hey, just so you know, that wasn't true. I had climbed up a tree, tied the rope around the tree, put it around my neck, and was blacking out when I got your text. And if you didn't get a hold of me, I'd be hanging from the tree dead right now. So thank you.
Wow.
And that hit me really hard, and
Yeah.
also like lit a fire inside me. And so I went back to the office and I told my boss, and I was like, listen, Sarge, like, you're in charge. I'm going to respect the, chain of command here. I'll never do that again under your supervision. If that's what you want, I understand. I'm not going to be like disobedient. But I did just forward you the message we got from the guy whose life we saved today. And then I completed my shift. I had already scheduled 9 days of leave to go purchase a car and a house. And I went and did that. Got a call from them saying I was on my probationary period. So when you're a cop, you're still paying union dues, but you have 1 year of being an at-will employee before you have any protection. So I was like 9 months into that. My sergeant, the same guy, called me and been like, just so you know, your big meeting's coming up. Everything's good. You got nothing to worry about. I was like, okay, cool. And then I came back and they met me at the door and were like, hey, we're going to need all your stuff and we're terminating your employment. And I was like, okay, can you like explain why? And the lieutenant at the time said, I don't really know. It was the stuff that you and your sergeant talked about. And I'm like, weird, because you're the only lieutenant. There's like a 30-person department. You probably do know. And also the last thing he told me was everything was fine. So I was like, I'm not going to get the truth from these people. And that was kind of the last time that I dealt with them, and dropped my stuff off, and then was like, wow, what do I do? Because I had really identified, like, I was wanting to be of service. And then once I became a police officer, I put my identity, instead of just being as a human being of service, as like, oh, police officer, like my job is to like change the system and do this. And like the guilt of being like thinking like, oh, I'm actually trying to make a difference, I can't leave, because a lot of people aren't. And so I got hit with like a lot of shame and self-identity and trying to figure out what was next. So I always like building things, and I ended up working at a construction, like a deck building company for a while. And then I went to Key West to go babysit a van I had always been interested in this van life stuff, and some friends of mine went
Wait, wait, wait,
down
wait,
there.
wait. What does that
Yeah,
mean?
sorry,
Baby, baby,
hard
ba
transition. Sorry.
baby,
Um,
babysit a van. Like, what does that mean?
yeah, so I was working for this I was working for a dude, and he met a girl who got him into bus life. And this
Uh-huh.
guy was like not a hippie, like wouldn't take his shoes off in the grass type of guy. And I'm like, how is
God
this
forbid.
guy? Yeah, God forbid you touch that weird nature stuff, right? So I'm like, what the hell? How is this guy doing all this cool shit? One of his friends was wanting to go down with them, and there was a van lifer down there that they had met in Key West who was going to Argentina and leaving his van down there in storage, and was
Ah,
like, hey, someone can like hang out in this van and rent it out from me and drive it and live the van life and come check out, the keys. And
uh-huh.
I got invited to go do that. And I was like, wow, this sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
So I went down, and I actually had a pretty brutal time because the people I was with turned out to not be like the most admirable human beings. And
Uh,
also, like, the van we were told was going to be like, yeah, take the keys, drive it, do whatever. When we got down there, it was like, I actually am not comfortable with that. I don't want you to drive it. So it was like stuck on the side of the road. It had no windows. The power didn't work. He like hadn't changed the bedding. It was still like dirty dishes in there. It was like, so it's basically a gross hot bed on the side of the road in Florida that we were like stealth camping out of. And I was
Well.
like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. And I like probably would have done it for me, but another van saw our van, and they rolled up, and these two people, Tommy and Dina, rolled out, and they had been doing van life over COVID and had been trying to make connection, and found
Mhm.
us, and we're like, we don't know what we're doing, but like, don't leave, come
yeah,
hang, like,
help
we'll be
Yeah,
us.
friends. Yeah,
yeah.
so we rented scooters, became friends with them, met
Uh,
another dude who lived in a school bus named Mark and his dog, and then he had access to it. As soon as they realized that like we were new on the road and struggling, they were
Yeah.
like, oh, we have access to a condo. Bring your power station over. We'll charge it up. If you need to sleep on the couch, here, you got to cool off. Come to our pool. Like, they
nice.
immediately took us in like better than family,
So,
honestly.
so I have a question. So the whole
Yeah.
van life thing, so does that really like take off during COVID? Because there were so many people who were just like, well, you're not gonna lock me up
Yes.
in my house, and so I got to get out of here. So I know like camper sales went through the roof, like
Hmm.
everybody was
It
like in
exploded.
so is that kind of when the camp or the van life
I
thing
think
sort of
that's
took off? Yeah.
when it went from like a niche thing to
Yeah.
like more mainstream.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it got a lot of people like, there's always been like the of the earth people, I think, like they're like, I gotta get out of the system and live in a van, right? But
Yes.
there's a lot of people that like, I think, get into the van and then find out that they're in a system they want to get out of. Like, that's what
Yeah.
happened to me. And
Yeah.
I think like now with remote working and Starlink and whatever, like my friend Lex here, I just invited her to this campground, but she's in this ProMaster. Showed up last
Yeah.
night. I'm using her Starlink, and she probably because of COVID, her job became remote. I don't know, but she's a remote worker, so it's
Hmm.
like if you can afford remote working and rent, you can basically afford to buy a new van every year. Because that's what you're
Wow.
giving your landlord. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's been really getting cool with all of these digital like marketing, like social app building people, like my friends. I probably mentioned the Crossroads to you because we hung out for more than 2 minutes.
Hmm.
But like, I
Yes.
have my buddy Dylan created this app for us called Crossroads, and now we have like a map feature where I can look on a map like Google Maps and see where all my friends are, and then we can post
Yes.
events. That's how I found out about this event. Was I was bored scrolling on my phone and was like, "Oh, what's that? That's nearby. Let's go." So now we're getting these new tools and making the community is getting a lot easier to locate and find, which is
Wow.
kind of something that like I'm super passionate about.
Wow. I'm curious, is this like something you did to sort of heal your soul from all of what happened? Or is this like, you're kind of taking a break from the world, or you feel like, no, this is the way I want to be in the world right now? Like,
This is definitely like right now. I just spent 10 days back in Michigan at my house, and it was so jarring to my nervous system to be
oh,
not on wheels and like not have my own place where I can go explore and
yeah.
like
Yeah.
do what I want. Yeah, as like I guess we kind of transitioned from like the police world to like getting into the van stuff. But the Key
Yeah.
West
Yeah.
thing, long story short, got interested into the van life because I'd met cool friends, even though I'd went down with not such cool friends. And I
Yes.
was like, oh, I just need to get my own van and go find these people. And there's a big
Yeah.
festival,
Yes.
so I'm gonna go save up as much as I can and figure it out.
Yeah.
So I had $8,000 and I got a guy to sell me a like basically like imagine like a FedEx truck but all white, like a big one with the sliding doors, or like a
Yes.
food truck. So I bought one
Yeah.
of those and then drove that down to Tucson, Arizona on a whim because someone I had met online said I could stay at their house and build it. And I drove down there and got a
I
bar
love
job.
Tucson.
It's a fun place. I really
It
do.
is. It's a cool
Yeah.
place. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like edgy enough to where like
Yes. It's
I like it.
arty
It's
and
not too
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
It's
I
got
like
its
that
edge, but
I like
lots of
that the
artists.
community is like, hey, you
Yeah.
can put a 1930s rusted pickup truck in your front yard and call it lawn art, and we're cool with that. Like, me too. So
That's
yeah, so
awesome.
I for me for getting into this, I was like, I wanted to. I had a big hole in my heart when I left the police world of like, how do I make money in a way that is good, like in that like
Yes.
that helps people? How do I still get to be of
Yes.
service? Because with the
Yes.
police world, even though I was I was violating policies to do the right thing and dodging supervisors, it was still like I was working in a system that was not necessarily built to help everybody.
Yes.
So, and I was trying to like change that, but now I know it's like, oh, now I have the freedom to only help in a way that I think is like just and true, and I don't have to be like, well, the policy says I have to screw you over, so I'll just screw you over a little less. It's like, no, I
Yeah.
can just only do good things,
Yeah. So
Yes.
which is
yeah,
cool.
what you said in the headliner basically was finding freedom without sacrificing yourself or your own morals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
how do we
That's
live in a
so
capitalist
profound.
society and help people and also make
Yeah.
sure we're okay? You know, it's like the ultimate
Yes.
challenge. Yeah,
Yeah.
so and I wanted to like I had a bunch of self work to do. Like I grew up in a family like in the Midwest, like binge drinking is kind of like the thing to do. So like I grew up as like weed was the devil, but like also let's get so drunk we throw up and like I'll
Yeah.
get like everyone's parents will buy you booze when you're 16. So like I had an addiction to alcohol I hadn't really came to terms with. Like nothing like I could because I could drink it. I'm the nice guy. So it's like I could have 10 beers, I'm still nice. I'm just drunk.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's like no one's like, oh wow, Jared really effed up this time. And I never really had to get it together. I had to do
Yeah.
it for
Right.
me. So as soon as I wanted to like handle that and like find a way that where I wasn't like selling booze, something I don't even like and I think is bad for people to like make money. And I was like,
Yeah.
how do I do this? And I didn't know. And the first 2 years was really hard on the road. And like I didn't have a ton of community. I was still drinking a lot. Like I was still
Mm.
really tied to the system of like, you think you're free when you're in a van, but then it's like, oh, but now I got to go to Tucson for 3 months and then like work for a manager who's not happy at their job and like serving all these people who you have to be nice to, even if they're not nice to you. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm not as free as I thought I was going to be, but I'm a
Yeah.
lot freer.
Mm.
Because nowadays I've learned that if you're my age, you're like, people know that if you're not doing like an awesome remote job or you're not in the internet or digital field, you're probably not going to get your retirement, right? Like you're not, it's not work 20
Yeah.
years and retire anymore. And a
Right.
lot of people
Right.
are like, oh, we'll just buy all the property and be like landlords is kind of like the thing to do is like flipping the houses, right? But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's not good either because now you're just like being a landlord, which sucks.
Yeah.
It
um
does.
it does. And or it's
So,
like really it's hard to be an ethical one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
It's
so how,
fraught.
yeah. How do you make money,
Yeah.
Judy, out on the road? Like,
Yeah, so
talk
now
about
I
that.
am full-time building vans, buses, well, building anything I want. I'm a carpenter by trade.
Mm.
I will also do like, you know, I build my own vans, so I'll do all of it. But I really like the woodworking.
Mm.
And that's like what I'm passionate about. And then I've gotten
Mm.
into like wood burning where I'll like make art on whatever I'm building you,
Ah,
Yes. Yeah.
which is really fun. And at first, like I'd done 2 years on the road where I'd been like, I like to call it subconscious sabotage, where you're like trying to grow, but then you keep doing things that putting things in your way because your subconscious is like, but I don't want to do it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I was in like I would get in like back to back like about to leave, single, free, gonna see what I'm gonna do. And then I'd get in like a long distance relationship and then be like, oh, and now I'm on a trip to then come home to my partner, which is like a completely different state of mind.
Yeah.
So after doing that twice and realizing like, oh wow, like I'm not getting sober for these people, which is what I'm trying to do, and I keep dating, like I need to go get sober for me and go get on the road for me and go
Yeah.
explore for me so I can be the best person for other people. Like you
Yeah.
need to serve
That's it
yourself
right
if you're going
there.
to serve others.
Yeah.
So
Fill
this
your
Always
cup.
an
year,
inside
yeah,
job. Yes.
yeah, I had sold my van to my first FedEx truck to I shouldn't say their family name, but to some billionaires that I had worked on their farm, which is another hour long interesting story.
Mm.
But I'd sold that, bought this ProMaster, brought it home and built it out, and I had a couple grand, and I came home to start my business, and I was like, I don't want to serve alcohol. I want to quit alcohol. I don't want to give that to people. And then I had snapped my collarbone as soon as I came home on a
Oh.
mountain biking ride. So I got a bar job back home and was going to do that and then also do carpentry because I wasn't confident that I would be okay on my own. And then I broke my collarbone and lost the bartending job.
Mhm.
So then I was like, well, I have nothing to do but like try and find work. And then I was able to like find all these nomads, even in Michigan, that like wanted help on building their vans. So I was building vans in a sling on a bunch of opiates for the pain, like
Yeah.
building all these vans all over Michigan. And I was like, wow, okay, if there's a market here, there's gotta be one out west. Like if I can do it here, I just have to like trust that like you just gotta send it. So I went out with, I had a couple grand left, enough to get me just out west and float for a couple of weeks. And I got on Facebook and started posting. And I do it, I like to, my building style is like, I do like an hourly rate, but then I also like, if you want to learn, I want to teach you. If you want to be super engaged in the project, I'm down. If you want me to do only the stuff that you can't do, I'm so cool. You're not going to waste my time. I'll go on a bike ride and hang out while you do the stuff you don't want to pay me. Like, however it works, I want to make sure that everyone can afford me, but I can still afford like to live on the road comfortably.
Right.
So I started doing it
Win-win.
that way. Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
met one of my partners, Phoenix, who then introduced me into polyamory, which is a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's another podcast. We're
A
gonna have you
whole nother
back.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes,
then
yes,
like
and yes.
yeah, so I meet her, and then like I meet all these other people, and I can start getting invited to these van festivals, and now I don't even have to advertise because I've met probably 500 or 600 nomads that a
Yes.
lot of them don't build their own rigs. You know, they're remote workers, or they do fashion or whatever, or tattoos.
Right.
And whenever someone needs some work, they just kind of wait for me to show up, and I bring all my tools. And I
Wow.
like, if I don't have work, I usually just have to go to a festival to find it,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
that's awesome.
great. Yeah. And then this year I ended up buying land in Bombay Beach, California with some of my
Oh,
partners and community
nice.
members, and then started our first like nomadic, it's like a queer friendly, queer aligned nomadic outpost for people who are new on the road to find community, get work on the rig. You can hang out on the beach, and then there's a whole town, and then we don't charge anybody to stay with us. We just ask that you pick a volunteer opportunity in town for one of the like local people who actually live there full time, and then that's how we get engaged in the
Amazing.
That's
community.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Where
Yeah.
is Bombay, California?
So Bombay Beach is about an hour and a
Right.
half to 2 hours south of Joshua Tree. It's near
Oh,
Slab City. If you're a nomad, you've probably heard of Slab. And it's like, it was known as like the Riviera of the desert. Like the Beach Boys were doing music videos there. It was like a whole water skiing thing. And then thanks to a hurricane and then a flood, the town got pretty messed up. And then the sea is like twice as salty as the ocean, and it's shrinking.
Yes.
So it's like this really weird Burning Man-esque town where like people are kind of building whatever they want. There's a million art projects going on, and it's just like
Wow.
it's fantastic. Half of the, I'd say maybe 20% of the houses and buildings in town are owned privately but used as open community spaces.
That is awesome. That is
Yeah, we
awesome.
have a potluck for all 300 people are in town are invited every week, and it's all like funded by the coffee shop.
Wow.
It's very special.
That
And
is
really,
And
amazing.
Marcy's
That's
already thinking
amazing.
about how she's gonna drive her
Oh,
van.
I
She's
am.
oh her head, I can see the smoke coming
I
out
need
of
to
her
see
ears
this
right now.
place. I need to see
yeah,
it.
Bombay
I
is
mean, I'm a
special.
Yeah.
third generation native Californian,
Yeah.
and I don't know that area very well.
Oh,
No one
it's
does. It's
Although,
like a magical little spot no
yes,
one's
I've
heard of.
driven through that kind of that area in my way. I was in Arizona, back and forth to San Diego, Arizona, but oh yeah, I gotta see this. And I know my kids would dig that too. So
oh my goodness. We could go
yeah.
on for days.
Oh,
I
we
know.
definitely
Like
have to have you
for
back,
days.
Judy, because
But
you
we're running out of time for
we
sure.
are. And I feel like I want to go back and I want to be able to talk more about your experience as a cop. And like, that's so rich and so beautiful how you came through that. And then, but then you've got all this other stories to tell. So we definitely have to have you
I know.
back.
I was talking to you too, and I'm like, man, I also like last year, I dated my partner who now goes by Eddie. Was like my first trans and like queer
Yeah.
relationship I ever had, which
Yeah.
then brought me into like, so I've been like identifying as queer and like exploring that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
30 minutes ain't gonna work for all
No,
these
no,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
gonna have you back. We're gonna have you
We're gonna
back
do
for
it. We're
sure.
gonna do it.
And you know
For
what?
this
There's one thing you want to say, or one thing you said that I think is so you have your self-awareness is really exceptional. But when you said about going home, because obviously you bought a house right in the midst of that whole cop mess, how it totally messed up with your nervous system, like you weren't regulated there. That's such a strong sign that you identified like I'm just not, this isn't where I belong anymore. So
My home is this van, wherever this van is.
yes,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
amazing. That's
which
amazing.
feels
Well,
really cool.
and I
Yeah.
think the moral of the story is community, right? Or
Community, yeah.
community, building community. I think that's something Marcy and I say on almost every podcast. It's
Yes.
really about collaboration, community, connection, like all those things. And clearly
The
you weren't getting that.
the other piece that goes with that you've also just gotten at to me such a young age is values and living from your values, so that you
Yeah.
know that you have to be in a job or a lifestyle that you're able to live into your values, and you weren't really able to do it fully as a cop, but you can do it fully now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I read something just the other day that I really resonated with me. It was like, it's good to you should be changing your opinions all the time. It's your values that should be staying the same. And that like
Yes.
lifted a big weight
Yes.
off me. It's like, oh yeah, I should be saying every
Yes.
day, like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I was totally wrong about that. But
Yeah.
now
Yes.
that I know this, it's in line. It's still my values haven't changed,
Yeah.
which is
That's
looking at
it.
things from
That's
new
it.
perspectives. Yeah.
Ugh, I love that.
It's been really cool. And then like I just want to say one more thing about community. I've been working
Yeah.
like through like finding like love within polyamory and just like platonic friendships is like I've been now looking, instead of being like, now that I don't drink and like I know what like my hobbies are, I actually want to be doing with people. It's like when I meet people, instead of being like, oh, you're fun and that's cool, I'm gonna hang out with you. It's like I'm always, when I meet people, I'm like, are you someone that I think I would want to invest time for like the rest of my life? Like, do you give me
Yeah.
that vibe? And if you do,
Yes.
I'm going to just sink into you and then
Yeah.
like bring that person to all the other people that I've met that are like that. And
Yeah.
I've got like 15 new ones of those since like September. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm just building like this army of like really good, like conscious
Human
people.
beings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes to that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, that's what we need.
Yeah,
It
keep
is what we
expanding
need.
that thought because we
Yes.
need it.
That's beautiful.
We're on fire right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have so many resources. If we can figure out how to share them all, we can all do
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's enough for everyone. And to
There
find
is.
your people is the best feeling. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Thank
Oh,
you
Judy, this
so
is
much,
awesome.
Judy. And
Thank
I
you.
love your big feet. I love your
Yeah.
name.
Thank you. Y'all are so great. It's so
I
nice to
love
meet
your
you.
lifestyle. Yeah.
Well, when are y'all got to come on the road and come hang?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
I want to come and see Bombay Beach for sure. And I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
going to take Debbie in our
I'm flying up to Alaska with one of
oh,
my
cool.
partners to go to Van Stock in her van, and then I'm going to be in the PNW in like all of like the fall.
Yes.
But then we're going to be down between like Baja, Mexico, and Bombay Beach from like December through March is like the only time it's good to be down there. Else,
Yes.
the Bombay Beach lets you know when it's time to go.
Yes.
Yes.
For
So we'll
sure.
definitely be down there. It's a
All
ride.
right.
I'll
I'm
Okay.
going
have
to
a
tell the
blast.
kids we're
Road
going to
trip.
come see you.
Road trip.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, keep in
We'll
touch with
reach
me,
out
okay?
again. We
Yeah.
will. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Take
Take care,
care.
y'all.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, warrior moms. As we started this podcast, we had determined that part of what we were going to do is to create a community. So we have decided to take it to another level, and we have started our own Facebook community in addition to the Warrior Parent podcast, and it's called
From Chaos to Calm, a sanctuary for moms. Here's what it looks like. It's on Facebook right now. Please go and join it. And just to let you know, we're going to create our Blue Sky accounts right now. We're getting prepared as we watch this weird stuff go on in America. So we may be shifting the whole group to Blue Sky. Just be aware that we got you. You're going to start here. If this turns out to be not a safe place anymore on Facebook, then we will shift over. But what we're creating is a safe space where moms can show up and get information, get support, talk to each other about the things you're going through with your kids, the things you went through with your kids, maybe get some advice from moms, but also other experts. We're going to invite all of our guests and experts to join the group. I hope you will too. This is a place where you can show up and be seen and be heard and be safe. Mom's got you.
Nobody trusts anyone more than moms. So let's do this.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today's journaling prompt is a good one, and it is, I am so grateful for. Gratitude is a practice that will magnetize that which we want and bring more of it to us. So take out your journal, take out a piece of paper, use your phone, and write these words, I am so grateful for, and then just start filling in all the things you're grateful for. Keep writing, keep letting it come through. Enjoy your journaling.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Core Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.